Truckers X TV on air. We are now live in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice. In the previous episode, we interrogated the Sarge. We found out that Sarge is a girl, and we found out the true mystery of the Founder's Orb, quote unquote Founder's Orb. And now Phoenix Wright has claimed that it isn't because in the legend we're basing on some old legend, and they say that whoever reveals it gets some spiritual power. So we'll figure out as to what's going on there, so let's get ready.
Mr. Wright, you do well to watch up and find your missing marbles by then too.
And something is wrong with Mr. Wright. We have no idea why. The freaking politician, the wannabe Donald Trump, the wannabe Hillary Clinton, I want to slap the heck out of that politician. Really, I hate those freaking guys. Freaking, they have all the money in the world. It's just idiots. Mr. Wright is sure acting funny. I mean, he's famous for going out on a limb, but that last assertion was just plain crazy. It's either a bluff. Oh, my voice. It's either a bluff or a Hail Mary. Either way, it doesn't make sense. Maybe there's something we're missing here. Although he seemed perfectly normal when we spoke earlier. Apollo, I have a bad feeling about this. Please don't tell me. I'm gonna check up on him. Please don't tell me it's Maya. What's going on with you, Mr. Wright? Hey, Private Justice? Oh, Sarge. I forgot to mention something. On the night of Papa's murder, a strange thing happened. Oh? Well, why are you only telling me about it now? Well, I didn't say anything before because I thought Papa's death was accidental. But now that we know otherwise, I figure it might be important. There's still more to this case. When I left my room and lost consciousness, I passed out right here. The coffee bar? Oh, yeah, there was one. That's right, above the coffee bar. But when I came to, someone was pushing my wheelchair. Huh? What? I was so scared I beat a hasty retreat as fast as my wheels could take me.
Do you know who it was?
No, it was pitch black. Plus, I fled to my room so fast I didn't even have a chance to turn on the lights.
Maybe it was your father.
No, he would have said something to me. Besides, I have to know if it was him. I had known.
So then it could have been your father's real killer?
My thought exactly.
But you didn't report this to the police.
It didn't even occur to me.
It's okay. You're obviously still upset, so don't beat yourself over it. Apollo, this could be really important information. I think the act of pushing Sarge's wheelchair could be part of something bigger scheme. It's hard to see why else the killer would have done such a thing. I guess I should take her statement down as evidence.
And this is still day 1.
Oh, welcome back, Athena. What's with the long face? How did it go with Mr. Wright?
What should I...
Athena?
Oops, sorry. Zoned out there for a sec. The race is almost on, so let's go.
What did you learn? What was that all about? What did you learn, woman? What did you learn? If anything happened to Maya, I'd be mad. May 17th, District Office, Court Lobby, Courtroom number 6. Alright, court is once again back in session. Now, Mr. Wright, about that last objection you raised. We, the plaintiffs, still believe that the defense has yet to sufficiently prove its case. Do me a favor right now, make sure to hit the like button, and your support is greatly appreciated. That's the one thing I forgot to say. They claim that according to the legend, the Founder's Orb would bestow spiritual power. Yet the relic in question has failed to do so, therefore it has failed its own test. I see.
He's sticking with that ridiculous argument?
Furthermore, even if it's the Founder's Orb, it can't be awarded to the Defiant Dragons. After all, they were the ones who killed Dr. Buff.
Objection!
What are you talking about? That was already proven to be false. There are no grounds for asserting that the Defiant Dragons murdered the doctor. Oh, but I'm afraid there are, Mr. Justice. Your Honor, I would like to present new testimony to this court. Who? Testimony that will show that That's a Rebel did in fact kill Dr. Buff. What?
Very well, you may call your witness.
Who? I guess Mr. Wright found another new angle. What new testimony could there be this late in the game? Ah! Get your arrogant, pompous, rich butt out of here! My client divulged new information to me during the recess. He remembered something he saw, you see. Something crucial to this case. How very convenient. I really want to slap the heck out of politicians. That's crime. It was around 11 at night.
It was around 11 at night, and I was out on a mobile meet and greet around the village. That's when I saw Dr. Bob being murdered from outside his study window. Mr. Rebel snuck up from behind and struck him on the head.
Ow! I bit my tongue! Ow! Ah!
His weapon of choice, a suitcase. A big, strong man like him could easily swing a heavy suitcase into someone's head.
Did we not just prove it was a freaking book? You saw the murder as it happened? And you're just telling us now because...
I saved the best for last. It's a tactic known to all political greats. The murder weapon was a complete mystery, but my client's eyewitness account has finally brought it to the light. According to the autopsy report, Dr. Buff was struck in the head by a corner of sub-object. I suppose that could very well be the corner of a suitcase.
Objection!
But eyewitness testimony isn't the same as hard evidence.
Oh? I wouldn't worry about that if I were you.
What's that supposed to mean?
We have physical evidence too. A liminal test revealed.
Oh.
The doctor's blood on Mr. Rebel's suitcase.
Really? But how does that prove Mr. Rebel used it as a weapon?
Objection!
You should know the answer to that, Mr. Justice. Since you know as well as I that the suitcase is covered in fingerprints.
Ah, I forgot he dusted it right in front of Emma. We dusted it right in front of her. The turnabout terror strikes again.
This is quite convincing testimony and evidence. Nevertheless, you may proceed with your cross-examination, Mr. Justice.
What flaw is there with this? How do we know? Oh, we're getting close. It was around 11 at night, and I was out in the mobile meet and greet in the village. I rather not press on about that. That's when I saw Dr. Buff being murdered in front of his house study window. That we can agree on. Mr. Rebel snuck up behind and struck him on the head. His weapon of choice, a suitcase. A big, strong man like him could easily swing a heavy suitcase into someone's head.
Hold it!
He snuck up from behind? So you're saying the doctor never even realized Mr. Rebel was there?
That's right. He was utterly absorbed in a book.
I see. What did you see Mr. Rebel do? Are we back at it again? He climbed the bookshelf ladder and dumped a bunch of books down the body. Make it look like an accident? What the heck? One of those statements doesn't feel right. Your Honor, I believe the witness made an important statement just now about how the crime was clearly visible. Okay, where are we? He snuck up behind. You say you realize. I see. What did you did? What did you see? He climbed the bookshelf ladder and dumped a bunch of books down on the body. I believe he was trying to make it look like an accident. But that idiot didn't realize I could see everything from outside the window. That's right, he was utterly absorbed in the book. The doctor was... It's the book. It has to be the book. The crime was clearly visible. Let's read the book. The doctor was reading a book at the time of the murder. That's final testimony.
Very well. The witness will please add that statement to his testimony.
The doctor was standing in front of the bookshelves, absorbed in a book. Was standing in front, okay.
Hold it!
You watched a murderer commit his crime and did nothing to stop it? That doesn't sound like a good way to score points with the voting public.
I'm a politician, not a superhero. I'm under no obligation to risk my life and limb.
He sure is quick to deny his obligation when there's nothing in front of him.
I'm getting tired of listening to endless campaigning and flimsy rationalizations. About your testimony, Mr. Anderson Whipperson. You said Mr. Rebel struck the doctor from behind while he was absorbed in a book. Yes, that's exactly what happened.
His weapon of choice, a suitcase. Did we press on that? I don't think we haven't. Are you sure? Great. Information must always be disclosed in a strategic manner. It is one of the lessons. Oh, why at it again? A big strong man like that could easily sway my hand. Yeah, we can ask that.
Hold it!
I mean, it's proof. There is proof. I would have to agree the suitcase is really heavy. Wait a second. How did you know it was so heavy for all you knew? It could have been empty.
Objection!
My client witnessed the crime in progress, so naturally he saw Mr. Rebel straining to lift what was obviously a heavy suitcase. I can't say I'm a fan of you trying to discredit my client by tripping it.
What? But I'm just doing what you always do, Mr. Wright. Dr. Buff was struck from behind while he was absorbing a book? He must have really been into it. Doesn't add up. What doesn't? That Paul Edson is lying. I'm sure of it. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Snuck up behind, struck in the head. The doctor was standing in front of bookshelves, absorbed in a book. The psychology book? This is the psychology book. The doctor was standing in front of the bookshelves, absorbed in a book. Let's see. The autopsy report, please. Cause of death, cerebral hemorrhage after being struck in the back of the head with a corner of an unidentified object. Army statement. Let's see. The night of the incident, Army fainted in the hallway above the coffee bar after witnessing the doctor burn the treasure. When she came to, someone was pushing her wheelchair. Frightened, she quickly fled to her room. That is not the case. The diagram. I would say the diagram. I would say the doctor. I would say the diagram. Let me check. I feel like something is clicking to me, but it's not there. Let's see. That's crime. Statement 3. He was reading glasses? Oh! I was like thinking, when are we gonna use... It's like this thing was came to my mind, but I was like, when are we ever gonna use this? Let's see. The doctor was standing absorbed in a book. Statement 4, statement 3. I was like thinking, when are we gonna use this? Why do we even have the glasses for a reason?
Objection!
The doctor was standing in front of the bookshelves. Absorbing the book, you say? I'm sorry, but it seems your testimony is completely unreliable.
That's quite a bold statement. Well, let's hear you back it up. I challenge you to prove that I am anything but 100% reliable. That's a damn bold lie.
It would be my pleasure. Lately, it seems the doctor's eyes had gotten so bad he needed reading glasses. However, his reading glasses were over on his desk. So you see, there's no way he could have been reading in front of a bookshelf. I'm sorry, Mr. Addison Whipperson, but I'm going to have to ask you to explain this discrepancy to the voting public. You what?
I'll explain it, you lowly cur.
I simply made a mistake, you see. Oh, we're gonna add that to the testimony. I'm gonna hit you in the head.
The doctor was actually sitting on his desk when Mr. Rebel hit him over the head.
But then the doctor would have been facing him. Surely he would have seen him try to run.
Dr. Buff was nodding off. I could tell because his eyes were closed and he wasn't moving.
Sounds more like what you would do.
Then how do you explain the fact that he was struck in the back of the head?
Isn't that something that should be impossible from the front of the desk?
Oh, about that. He bowed his head when he nodded off. That's what he was clobbered.
Oh, great. I hate freaking idiots.
Do you have a problem with that proposal to the doctor was struck with the nodding off?
Please tell me it's a big problem. Please tell me it's a big problem. There is a problem. Thank you.
There is a problem. Very big problem. The witness statement doesn't hold up under the slightest bit of scrutiny. Is that so? Now will you please show this court what evidence you have to justify this?
Gladly, Your Honor.
This shows the problem with the witness' claim that he saw the doctor nodding off.
What was that? Study diagram.
Take that!
A diagram of the study?
Mr. Addison 1% allegedly viewed the murder from here. And the doctor was allegedly nodding off here. Oh, I get it. But from his vantage point, the bookcase would have blocked the witness' line of sight.
Why, yes, I believe you're right. But...
No!
Objection!
The fact remains, my client knew that the suitcase was the murder weapon. So he definitely has first-hand knowledge of the crime scene.
I'm afraid I have to agree with you there, Mr. Wright. But then we have to ask ourselves, from what vantage point did he see the murder?
What are you insinuating, Mr. Justice?
From what vantage point could Mr. Anderson 1% have been seeing the dozing doctor? Once we determine that, I believe we'll finally see the truth behind this incident. The witness saw the murder from right here. Yo, I would say it's from right here, because I can't get down. There's no cover right here, and he's from the entrance. This is a freaking second floor entrance, so he could have seen it right there at first hand. That could be it, because his daughter was in the ground and someone pushed it up and no one could see. Please tell me it's here. It is indeed, but everything only makes sense if the witness was there in the study. Inside the study? But that's the scene of the crime. I know. Mr. Wimperson, the man who claims to be witness to the murder, was most certainly in that very room. Apollo, are you suggesting... Mr. Addison Wimperson? Weren't you the one who actually swung that suitcase?
Objection!
What you're proposing is ludicrous. My client's a small, thin man, whereas Mr. Rebel was the musculature to pull it off.
He has a point. I gave up trying to lift that thing after one go.
That's right. He's the only one who could have lifted such heavy object. Now, do you understand? The Rebel dad's a rebel is the doctor's killer.
As long as the suitcase is the murder weapon, the suspicion falls entirely on Dad's. You'll have to poke a hole in Mr. Wright's argument somehow, Apollo. Oh, I will. With his own technique, no less. If Mr. Wimperson couldn't swing the suitcase around, we'll just have to consider another way. The toy! The toy! I'm going to turn this case on its head, Mr. Wright, just like you taught me.
You talk big, Mr. Justice, but do you have what it takes? Well, this should be interesting.
Mr. Addison Wilkerson's testimony has been failed with one inaccuracy after another. First, he stated that Dr. Buff was in front of the bookshelves. Now he claims the doctor was sitting at his desk. So where was the victim really when he was killed? Also, where was his killer? And how was the murder weapon really used?
So the important thing here is the position of the victim and the killer related to each other?
Yes, Your Honor. If they were positioned in a certain way, it would be possible to use the suitcase as a weapon without lifting a finger.
You can't mean...
I would ask the court to recall the study's layout. It's quite distinctive, as you can see. Now, if Dr. Buff was sitting in a certain spot and his killer was at a certain other spot, the suitcase would become a weapon anyone can use.
Very well, Mr. Justice. Where was Dr. Buff's killer at the time of the crime?
Oh, I got nothing. My mind's too focused on the freaking helicopter right now. Second floor hallway. Yeah. It's gotta be the second floor. Is it the second floor? Okay, let's see. Study diagram inside the building. Second floor. There is. Coffee on book. Coffee bar? Yo, this gotta be. This is right. Second floor hallway. Option 1 there is. Coffee on book.
Take that!
How could the murder have been committed from there?
Hey! The freaking guy lied to me. It says coffee on book. Oh! The other way around. If the killer didn't swing the suitcase, there aren't any other ways to use it as a weapon. And there aren't. Yo, I'm reading that guy hella wrong. Coffee on book. We got 2 tries. He has to be right over here, right? Please tell me he's right here.
Take that!
Come on! Coffee on book. Coffee on book. It's the freaking guy that says coffee on book. Where exactly is it? Where exactly is it? I hate these type of reviews. Okay, where is it? Investigation. Trial. Where are we at? Investigation 5, day 2, trial day 1. Third statement, Mr. Earl snuck up. First option, highlight book with coffee stain. Anywhere inside the building, second floor, hall, left from the coffee bar, below entrance. Study diagram, anywhere inside the building. Second floor hall, left on the coffee bar, below entrance. Let's see. Present reading glasses, fourth statement, second option, study diagram. Anywhere inside the building. What the? Second floor hall, left of coffee bar, below entrance. Yo, if we lose this because some weird information is getting me off. I just clicked that already. I don't get it. This should wrap things up nice and pretty for you, Mr. Wright. Like, I clicked like right here. I clicked right here the first time, and now I have to click it again. Great. I would ask the court to recall the study's layout. But this time, instead of thinking in 2 dimensions, let's think in 3. Only then we can clearly see the clearest method of work. Whoa. The killer didn't have to swing the suitcase. He had to push it! Yo, I was thinking a toy. If he used gravity to his advantage, that is. Yo, straight up, I was thinking a toy because, I don't know. That's right, it was the plaintiff, one Paul Edison Wilkerson, who used the suitcase. He pushed it from the second floor. And sent it hurtling down onto Dr. Buff, who was sitting at the coffee bar. The psychology book had been at the coffee bar, no doubt. The doctor must have been set it down there after he finished reading it, or the like. But his blood got on it, which is why the killer thought to hide it in the mountain of books. That's quite an entertaining theory you have there, Mr. Justice. But there is no evidence that the murder took place at the coffee bar. I'm not so sure about that, Mr. Wright. I'd say that evidence of the murder occurring at the coffee bar exists, right? Exists. First option, exists. The evidence does exist, and I'm going to show you. You are? This right here is proof that murder took place at the coffee bar. And what do we click? Book with coffee stain right up his head.
Take that!
This brown stain was determined to be coffee. What's more, it was still a bit damp when he saw it yesterday morning. Ugh. One look at this speaks volumes, I'm afraid, Mr. Wright. It tells us the doctor was having a cup of coffee at the coffee bar. That's when the suitcase came hurtling down, struck him at the head, causing both its blood and coffee to splatter onto it. Ugh. Well, Mr. Addison Wilkerson?
What motive would I have possibly had to kill Dr. Buff?
And there it is, the final excuse coroner killers are so fond of. The motive. Well, the doctor never returned your crystal, quote unquote, to you, did he? Instead, he hid it in the Cave of Ruins. No. Telling him that the Defiant Dragons were a dangerous bunch was a huge blunder. All it did was to make him hide the orb. Your lie came back to bite you in the end. Even worse, the doctor saw the news report, so he knew the relic was the Founder's orb. Being the conscientious researcher he was, he knew he had to return to its rightful place. And that meant keeping it out of your hands. No! You were so angry that he refused to return the relic to you, that you killed him with your own hands. Isn't that right? This is why I hate politicians.
Hold it!
Apollo! Please don't accuse my client of murder.
Huh?
What do you mean, don't accuse him?
Why would you even say that, Mr. Wright?
What I meant was, he's a promising politician with a bright future ahead of him. It's in our nation's best...
Okay, that's a load of bull right there.
Say what?
That's seriously a load of bull.
Right, you better do something to change the current courtroom climate, or I'll be charged with murder. And you know what will happen to her.
I knew it! He does have her. Maya, right? Ugh. What's he talking about? Well, I can't ponder that later. For now, Mr. Wright, you can't possibly believe that Mr. Rebel is the killer. Are you really going to send an innocent man to prison? I thought you were better than that. Well, Mr. Wright, answer me. It's Maya, isn't it? Maya's in trouble again? If you won't say anything, then... Mr. Addison Wilkerson, the defense hereby accuses you... Apollo, wait! Not you too, Athena. It's just... Oh, great, my 3DS is on red. We're on the most important part now. Where's the freaking charge? I wasn't sure whether I should say anything, but... During that last recess when I went to check on Mr. Wright, I overheard something I shouldn't have. I trust Maya's... I knew it! Why is she in trouble again? If I'm arrested or fail to obtain the treasure, there will be consequences. Great, Maya's in trouble again. Well, it's not a freaking Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney game without Maya being in trouble. Who is the benefactor? It's something to do with an old legend. Maya? As in Maya Fey? Yeah, it's the boss' legendary former assistant. Miss Fey is being held hostage? So it seems. Why didn't you tell me as soon as you heard this? Sorry, it's just Mr. Wright spotted me before I could slip away. And maybe props not to tell you. He said it would make things more difficult if you found out. Why am I stuttering? As if things weren't already hard enough. So that's why Mr. Wright was acting so strange. I had no idea. This must have been excruciating for him. Thank Justice. There's got to be something you can do.
Mr. Justice, about that last statement of yours. I believe you were in the middle of accusing the plaintiff of murdering Dr. Buff? I'm sorry, Apollo. I'm really sorry.
If I accused that slimebag, I put Miss Fey's life in jeopardy. This is why I hate politicians! Even if it's fake, even if it's fiction. It's still that type of character though. I really want to slap the heck out of this guy.
After all, our nation... Oh, God.
We can find another... I'm not a politician. Either I give up or... Slime bag. Oh my god. King? I can't kowtow it to him, but... The fence would... It would like to retract the previous accusation.
Apollo!
Dirk?
I don't know what's going on here, but a lawyer should never look the way you do right now, with defeat and resignation written all over your face.
Here we go again.
A dragon never yields.
Even when wounded, a dragon bites down hard and never lets go till its dying breath. It glares, it roars, and it latches its jaws firmly onto its prey to the bitter end. That's what lawyers do to get to the truth.
Dirk, a dragon never yields. He's right. It's all over if I give up now. If Mr. Wright's hands are tied, it's up to me to do what must be done. He saved my neck so many times. Now, it's my turn to save his. Dirk, thanks for that wake-up call.
Now that's the face of a lawyer you've got there, son.
Where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm going to find a way to save Miss Fey and see that justice is served. Oh, here we go again. Scumbag is holding Miss Fey hostage to ensure he gets the orb for his patron. It seems said patron believes in the orb's legend. The thing is, the founder did appear when the orb was exposed to fire, just as the legend said. If the legend is true, then we've already solved the riddle, right? Not yet? We have not solved the riddle yet. The legend says the founder will bestow great spiritual power when she returns. But if that's true, it means we haven't solved the whole riddle yet. But how can that be? Are we missing something? Maybe. Maybe that part about the founder returning should be taken literally. But how would it be possible for a dead person to return to the world of living? Channeling? The founder can return through channeling. Oh, I know. There is a way for the dead to return. Spirit channeling. Of course, you have to know what the founder looks like first. And the name. But the orb has revealed her face to us, so what if it's a sign that we should channel her? Well, we have to know her face. Given the facts, in order to solve the riddle and receive the founder's power, I need experienced medium. A medium is needed to obtain the power. The ability of a medium to channel spirits is the final key to unlocking the orb's secret. That means Mr. Addison Whitman's patron will need one too. And once that slaying politician realizes that, he won't be able to lay a finger on Miss Faye. Everything's going to be okay, Mr. Wright. Because Mr. Paul Addison Wilson can't afford to harm a hair on Miss Faye's head. Huh? Mr. Addison Whipperson? It seems you've chosen the wrong person to take hostage.
What do you mean?
Your patron seeks to solve the orb's riddle, and thereby receive great spiritual power. However, only Maya Fey can truly give them what they really want.
She can? What do you mean, only Maya Fey?
Think about what the return of the founder really means. We should have considered it more literally. After all, the orb was made in the Kingdom Kunai, the birthplace of spirit mediums.
Ah, I think I see now. You need to know what the deceased looks like in order to channel them. But in Kunainism, depicting the face of the founder is taboo. However, her true face was hidden in the orb. So maybe the orb is telling us to try channeling the founder. Exactly. Through a spirit medium, the founder can quite literally return. And if the legend is true, the founder just might bestow spiritual power on someone when she does. It's like when Pearl's imbued by Magatama with spiritual powers. Why are you bringing her up to this? The human can be imbued with such power in a similar manner. It is said the founder possessed immense spiritual power. Such a great feat would not necessarily be beyond her. Wait a second, then the legend is true!
Do you understand now, Mr. Addison Whipperson? You are holding hostage the final key to unlocking the orb's secret. And if anything were to happen to her, the riddle would remain unsolved forever. So accuse of murder and kidnapping.
There's always Pearl. Oh, come on. If she wants money,
too bad, too sad. She's not that kind of person to be tempted by material gain. And she certainly wouldn't help you if anything were to happen to her cousin. Or maybe you'd like to go ask the Queen of Kunai to channel the founder for you.
He could, but he'd probably get executed for requesting such a thing.
It's over. Now confess, you killed Dr. Buff, didn't you? And kidnapped Maya Fey.
It wasn't supposed to end this way. Are you admitting to committing a crime? You're my lawyer, right? Do something.
It's true that I'm your lawyer, and as such, it's my job to defend you. However, defending my client isn't the only duty a lawyer has. There's something else that's equally as important. And that is finding the truth.
What?
Mr. Addison Whipperson, you have sought to twist the truth in the dirtiest of ways. I was complicit in your hostage taking, but in a way, I was being held hostage too. Even so, there's still hope for me to make things right. And I owe it all to you, Apollo. Mr. Wright.
I can't allow a murderer to walk away scot-free. Therefore, Mr. Anderson Whipperson, I must resign as your attorney. No! Does this mean I'm under arrest? No!
Get on out. It's over. It's over. What are you up to?
Well, I've nothing to confess.
What?
I said I have nothing to confess. I don't and I won't. Especially not to a plebeian like you.
This guy doesn't know when to give up.
Besides, there's no truth to these allegations. I mean, look at the suitcase. You won't find a single print of mine on it.
All that means is you wiped him off, taking care to only leave Mr. Rebels.
Huh. As many a great politician has said before me, no comment. In that case, try switching things up, Apollo. Look at the situation from a different angle. Is there really nothing to point?
Why are we this far? I need to turn on the light. It's really dark. Great. Hold up. Let me turn on the light. It's really dark. Okay, much better. Evidence that points to the suitcase being dropped from the second floor. Can we actually... If the killer pushed the suitcase from the second floor hallway over the coffee bar, that would place him right around here. Maybe, just maybe. Thought of something, Apollo? We have one strike. Please tell me it's the toy. Please tell me it's a toy, because I've been thinking of the toy for a while now. Army statement? I guess. I was thinking of the toy for quite some time.
Take that!
That appears to be a statement, but how is this related to the case?
On the night of the murder, Your Honor, Miss Army Buffs physically left her room. That's when she saw the doctor burn the orb and subsequently passed out. Right above the coffee bar. But with her there in her wheelchair. Who are we talking about? The killer wouldn't have... Oh, great. You guys are talking too fast. According to Sarge, she woke up just as someone was trying to move her in her wheelchair. Ugh! She had the thing in her wheelchair, or someone was pushing my wheelchair. He had the wheelchair. She must have been in the killer's way and had to be moved. Never mind. Isn't that right, Mr. Anderson Whipperson? Ugh.
And if the killer had pushed the wheelchair with his bare hands,
we may yet find the conclusive evidence we need. Exactly. Fortunately for us, that evidence slipped right through the killer's fingers. If only he'd been able to hold on to it just a little tighter. But now he is neither able to discard nor alter it. Honestly, that piece of evidence wasn't even supposed to be here in the courtroom today. And yet, it looks like sometimes things do get better.
But this wasn't supposed to happen.
No? Well, too bad, because the evidence that sped away from you that night has come back to haunt you, right here at the very trial. Your Honor, the defense's final piece of evidence is this person.
Take that!
That's...
On the night of the murder, Sarge passed out, only to come to find that someone was pushing her wheelchair. That's when she fled back into her room. She didn't physically see a single soul after that. Not until Athena drew her out through that therapy session, that is. Oh. While the killer was able to wipe the prints of the suitcase, the same can be said for the prints that got away. Ugh. My fellow Crudinese. Crudanians, whatever. Well, Mr. Paul, try to explain your way out of this one. The podium is all yours. Savior my butt. I am not a crook. That's freaking that one president's speech. What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? Arrested on murder charges and stripped of his electoral win. What the heck is all this? What is this? What is this?
Mr. Whipperson, are you alright? Bailiff, get him to the first aid station on the double. Well, this was yet another unexpected turn of events. In light of everything that's been revealed, it seems the relic is indeed the Founder's Orb. And it seems Mr. Paul can be considered as a suspect in Dr. Boat's murder.
Apollo, I want to thank you for everything. Thanks to you, I did have to keep bending the truth. I don't know what I would have done without you. Don't mention it. You were amazing today, Apollo. Well, I couldn't have done it without Dirk. That final statement back there?
A dragon never yields.
I never talk during a flashback if it's already previous. Dragon never yields. Every lawyer should take that to heart.
It seems both sides have no further objections. Would Dirk somebody please take the stand?
Well, the question is, who's the benefactor?
This court awards the order to the Defiant Dragons per the stated transfer agreement.
Guilty or not guilty, that's good enough by me. Hey!
Should the Kingdom of Crudine claim ownership, the matter may have to deliberate it in court all over again. I just hope, or shall I pray, that I'm not the judge presiding over that one. Indeed, a trial like that might spark an international incident. Still, there are bigger and more momentous things astir in the air.
The revolution. Dirk's really serious about this.
This court is adjourned.
Whew! We're gonna be at an hour for this. May 17th. District Court, room, lobby, defendant, lobby, number 3.
Nice work, son. We've finally broken through the last obstacle on the road to revolution.
Revolution? It just doesn't seem real.
Yes, well, the thing you actually defeated the Fighting Phoenix. All I can say is, that's my boy, haha!
Well, Mr. Wright did have his hands tied. Who knows if I had won if he'd been able to fight me head on. I see it more like he saved Mr. Wright. Saved him?
Yeah, remember what he said? He didn't have to bend the truth anymore, and it was all thanks to you.
I don't know about that. Still, I guess it is kind of nice to be appreciated.
Mr. Dirk? Now that the Holy Mother's face has been revealed, are you going to have a spirit medium by channeling her? I, for one, would love to see the return of the legendary founder.
Yeah, just think about it. Being able to speak to someone right out of the history books?
Unfortunately, it's not that easy.
What? Why?
A face isn't enough.
We need a name! Alright, Pearl mentioned something like that.
The founder's true name is only known to the princess who's been crowned queen. In short, the only living person who knows it is the current queen of Kudai, Garen.
Also, without her help, we won't be seeing the founders anytime soon.
Tisk, that's no fun.
Updated?
Why?
So Dirk, what will you do now?
First, I'll start by tracing the route by which the orb came into Dr. Bob's hands.
Since we now know it was Paul Atchison that asked the doctor to study it, isn't he the one who stole it?
No, a political nobody like him couldn't get anywhere near the orb, let alone steal it. He must have inside help. My money's on someone connected to the royal family.
Oh right, you said something like that too.
Whoever it may be, we need to expose their dirty scheme to the light of day.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Wright has plenty of information, courtesy of his dirty client. He might be able to shed some light on this.
Private Justice! That was some fine work you did at the trial today. You did your sergeant proud.
Back at you, Sarge. It took real courage to leave your room like that.
It's all thanks to you and Corpsewoman Sykes. With my siege defense over, I can finally sally forth. But the battle's only just begun. One for me and me alone to fight. To lose your mother and then your father? What a terrible thing to endure.
Yeah, being wheelchair bound doesn't help.
Private Justice? I've been thinking. It's about time I stood on my own 2 feet. After all, I no longer have Papa to coddle me.
Huh? I'm afraid I don't follow.
Take a good look, soldier. This is one small step for man, and one giant leap for me. Hold my drone for me, would you, Private Justice?
Yes, sir. What is she up to? Hey.
Whoa.
Hey, a round of applause. She's standing.
What's this? Sarge, you mean your legs? They're...
The doctor told me I was ready to walk again months ago. But if I admitted I could walk, I knew I had to leave the house. So I faked it.
Makes sense, but...
I kept pretending I couldn't walk. But I know Papa is watching over me now, and I hate to disappoint him. So, from this day forth, I'm going to march forward on my own 2 feet.
What a brave kid, trying to move forward like this. When it must be so hard that's this soon after her father's death.
Don't you ever stop. You just keep on walking, comrade. Stay brave, because there will be days when you will want to stop. But I have faith you'll find a way to muster the strength to push through them.
Yeah, you can do it.
Hey, he's back!
Mr. Wright, what's that look on his face for? Oh, Apollo. Is everything alright? She's safe, for now.
Well then we better go save her! Where is she anyway?
I'm afraid I have some bad news.
Huh?
Maya's not here in the States. Oh, great. She's still in Kurine. And she's still being held hostage by the mastermind behind this whole thing.
The mastermind?
That's right. Paul was nothing more than a pawn. Maya's true abductor is in the kingdom of Kurine.
What?
I don't understand, Mr. Wright. What in the world's going on over there? But as shocking as that news was, it was only the beginning. The beginning of something big. Big enough to shake Kurine to its very core. Revolution. I was being swept up in a mighty wave that nothing could stop. Of course, at the time,
I had no idea what the days ahead had in store for us. To be continued. And with that, we'll be ending today's episode right here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll begin investigation 2 another day. Do me a favor right now, make sure to hit that like button, comment, performance if you're new, be like to seek, subscribe, and Destructor 6 TV, and I'm signing out.